Well, good day, everybody. Hello. Hope everybody's doing well. It's raining here in Tampa. Today, I'm a little bit down. Today, just not feeling up. Sorry about I just got a new phone. That's good news because I won't be running out of battery and running out of disk space every so often. And anyway. So it's exciting. I also got a new. It is amazing how much I love these phones. I'm sure some of you feel the same way, but it's a little disconcerting, to be honest with you. Who would have ever thought 50 years ago that we would be voluntarily carrying devices around with us that serve as video surveillance, audio surveillance, GPS tracking, and that contains a list of all of our friends, everybody that we associate with, everybody that we ever interact with, every transaction, well, not every, but a certain percentage of business transactions that we conduct. And it goes a step beyond voluntarily, right? Because it's actually a little bit obsessive, the way that we covet our phones. So, who would have ever thought? Amazing. Just got some breakfast. Got Subway sandwich and a bowl. Subway's coming out with wraps now. Spinach wraps, tomato wraps. But I'm trying to get on the keto bandwagon. I'm trying to get on the keto wagon. I've been trying, to be honest with you, for maybe 3 months, and the best I can do is have one foot on and one foot off for a period of time. Giving up, I would never have thought in a million years that giving up bread would be so hard, but it's pretty hard, I have to admit. I almost find it easier to give up food altogether than to give up certain kinds of food. I don't know why. It's weird, because like when you're putting things in your mouth, your default behavior is to put the things in your mouth you're accustomed to putting in your mouth. So changing that is pretty hard. And then you add to that the some people would call it an addiction, but the impulse or the appetite or the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm down today. I'm just down. I don't know why. I just am. I'm just down. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm a little bit depressed. I don't know what it is. But yeah. So I'm trying to get on this keto bandwagon. So and interestingly enough, going along with me being down is the fact that I went to run stairs today, and it's about must be about 38 flights, I think, 38 flights of stairs, and I did not do well. I did not do well today. Now, it's interesting, speaking of the keto thing, because yesterday and the day before I was off work, so I really just went crazy eating anything that I want to eat. So, for example, Thursday was my birthday, so I had 4 donuts at this amazing donut shop called Jupiter Donuts. And they come from Jupiter, Florida. It's a family business, and but there's one store on the East Coast, and they've opened it right by my house. So it's very cool. I had a Banana Foster donut. Amazing. Normally, I eat 1 or 2 donuts from Dunkin' Donuts or the grocery store or wherever, and I have an upset stomach, you know. Here, I had 4, and they're enormous. I mean, they're huge. They're like this big. Now, I had 2 of the huge ones, and I had 2 of what they call mini-me's, which is like a donut hole, except it's about 4 times the size of a donut hole from Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, a mini-me there is 90 cents just for one, just to give you an idea. So it might be roughly the equivalent of a regular commercial Dunkin' Donuts donut in mass, maybe. I don't know, but not in size, because it's like, you know, it's like this big, but it's also thicker than a regular donut. So that's why I said mass as opposed to size, because. So I had 1 of those giant, the Banana Foster donut, and 2 of the mini-me's. And then, as I was leaving, James, the guy there, he's in the family. He said it's his uncle's business. I told him, you know, I just made an offhand comment. I said, I'm looking at that raspberry chocolate, and I really want it, but I patted my stomach, and I'm like, man, I better not. He goes, well, here, I'll give it to you for free, right? So I couldn't resist that. I couldn't say no to that. So. And I also could not resist not eating it right away, so I ate it right away. And then I also had one of their breakfast sandwiches, which was croissant, egg, ham, and cheese. And I mean, for me, that's just crazy. That's going crazy with the food and the indulgence and the gluttony. I mean, so 4 donuts and a breakfast sandwich. I mean, and I don't know what it is, but I had 0 problems with that food. So it just gets me thinking that maybe this family business is using better ingredients. I don't know, higher quality ingredients, non-GMO flour. I mean, I don't know. I can only speculate, you know. But they say that my old boss told me that 85% of all wheat in America is GMO. So I guess pretty much everywhere you get anything that's made out of flour or wheat, it's going to be GMO. Maybe that's what makes it hard to digest. I like it. I have to just keep saying I don't know, because I don't know. I can only speculate, but these are the thoughts that I have. But I had 0 problems with this food. 0. I mean, that's amazing. I have problems with almost all food, so I can't explain that, you know. I had a giant cup of coffee. Coffee gives me an upset stomach sometimes. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, if you're in the mood for a good donut, try out Jupiter Donuts, because, man, those donuts were awesome. I mean, I can almost tell the difference in the flour or the bread almost immediately, like upon biting into it. So it just tasted real. It tasted fresh. I mean, you know. So it's interesting. They make enough donuts to sell for the day, and that's it. So if you go in there at 11 o'clock, there'll be almost no donuts left. So it's kind of cool, you know. But it's like the opposite of the whole corporate scene. So that was pretty good. But okay, so here's the thing. I'm trying to tie this all together. So it might be long, but at least it won't be a rambling mess long. So I did that for Thursday on my birthday, and then on Friday I pretty much ate whatever I wanted. And then today, like I said on the stairs, I did not do so well. I think I made it to the 15th floor without stopping, and I lost my training partner around the 7th or 8th floor. And by lost him, I mean that I couldn't keep up with him anymore. So I had to stop at the 15th floor. I had to stop at the 25th floor. And I had to stop. Did I have to stop again after that? 25th? No. Okay, so I did not. I stopped twice. And then when I got to the 33rd floor, I had to walk the last 2 flights. So last week I went all the way to the 20th floor without stopping, and it was hard, but I did. But that's how far I went. And in addition to that, I never had to actually walk a flight. So today I had to walk 2 flights. So here's what's going through my mind. It's like maybe those 2 days of eating trash, maybe, I mean, that's kind of a good litmus test, right? Or if maybe they did have an actual impact on my health, right? On my strength. Just those 2 days, That's pretty powerful. Now, interestingly, now see, this is the way God works, for me. This is the way God works in our lives, I believe. So I had that experience, but then I also had the experience. See, Shannon's been trying to get me to go full keto, like actually do it right, and which is basically no sugar whatsoever, no bread whatsoever, no grain whatsoever. That's basically what keto is. Medium to low protein, super high amounts of fat, super high amounts of vegetables, especially greens. So no roots, no potatoes, no onions, no beets, no carrots. So because all these things are high in carbs. So and I've been kind of poo-pooing the idea because that's the way I am. If you tell me to turn right, I'll turn left. If you tell me that something is black, I'll argue with you. I'll tell you, no, I think it's white. That's just kind of my personality, So I've been kind of poo-pooing it, But then yesterday I watched a Dr. Berg video, which is somebody that Shannon also got me turned on to. You can find him on YouTube, B-E-R-G. B like boy, E-R-G like George, B-E-R-G, Dr. Berg. It's awesome. It's amazing. Amazing health coach, doctor, chiropractor, author, whatever. Yada, 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 yada. But I heard his video, and he was very explicit. He was like, with respect to insulin, he was saying, you're either... I forget exactly how he phrased it, but it was something to the effect of, when it comes to doing this whole healthy keto thing, you're either on or you're off. He said it's not really the kind of thing where you can dial down the bad stuff and you get the benefit that you need. It's kind of like an on-off switch. So that kind of hit me kind of hard. Calls coming out. Unfortunately, I have to ignore it. But that kind of hit me kind of hard. So, but here's the thing. So, I've got my better half, Shannon, trying to get me to do this keto thing because it's the right thing to do. Solves like scores, like unbelievable large number of diseases and disorders and maladies and mood and emotional problems, and I mean just everything across the board, pretty much. Alzheimer's, dementia, I mean it just goes, the list just goes on and on. Obviously all of the metabolic disorder stuff, diabetes, stroke, heart disease, I mean all that stuff. And that metabolic stuff is horrible. I mean, so it's not just Shannon, it's not just Dr. Berg, it's my mother's internist. I wish I could remember the guy's name. He was from Egypt. Pretty sure he was a Muslim guy. Super nice guy. A lot of Muslims are conspiracy theorists like I am, by the way. I didn't realize that, but they are. So he and I got along exceptionally well. He was actually enlightening me and opening my eyes to a bunch of conspiracies that I didn't even know existed. That does not mean that they're true. It's just that they are out there, and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, I don't know how many people, put some stock in them, if not a lot of stock, so, and the conspiracies that the Muslims believe in, which I find it fascinating, are like from the opposite side of the world. Like, they look at, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Well, let me think about that for a minute. I don't know about that. I'm not 100% on that. But certainly they're different. They're different. I'm sure like a Venn, with a Venn diagram, there would be a considerable amount of overlap. But they are different. They are like their own entity, even if there is overlap. There's this like, not entity, but their own, set, like idea set. They have like a different realm of thought than the Western world, for example. So it was fascinating. But he was talking to me about metabolic disorder, and I mean it was amazing. He doesn't even call them sugar. He doesn't even refer to sugar companies as sugar companies. He refers to them as cartels. So they're like literally drug pushers in his eyes. Fascinating. I mean, amazing, and he just like, I can list, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, hypertension. I can list 4 diseases or disorders that come from sugar, or more specifically, according to Dr. Berg, carbs, right? Because I think everybody knows that but carbs. See, I'm off today, man. I'm so off. It could be all that sugar. See what I mean? I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. To me, this is the way God works. I haven't got to that part yet, but so what I'm trying to say is, carbs get converted to sugar, whether it's bread, potatoes, or some other kind of grain, rice, and there's tons, obviously. Anything that's high carb gets converted. I think we all agree on that. Dr. Berg said something interesting, just to digress again for a moment, very quickly, that protein gets converted to insulin. So sugar spikes your insulin, and protein gets converted to insulin, unusable protein. So, and the whole deal with sugar is not so much the sugar, it's the insulin. So, the insulin causes you to store fat, keep fat. It keeps your body from burning fat. And apparently it just does a lot of damage in your body across the board. So anyway, so Dr. Berg was talking, and he talked about the on-off switch, and he's like, you're either on or you're off, And so, like I said, this is the way God works. Shannon's been working on me. I had this experience where I just ate whatever I wanted to for 2 days, and then I was weak, and I'm like, I don't know if I don't know if it's why I'm tired and foggy headed. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I'm gonna throw that in there anyway because it fits, right? And then also Dr. Berg, it made this video that just kind of hit me at the exact right time, when I needed that little nudge, So here's what I'm trying to say. First of all this keto stuff, ketogenesis, low carb, high fat stuff is amazing, I think. I always poo-poo diets. I'm always like, just another stupid diet. In 20 years, they're going to be saying something different, blah, blah, blah. But to me, this is different. First of all, it exposes a conspiracy, and it's a depopulation conspiracy where they told everybody, don't eat fat, don't eat fat, don't eat fat. Everybody stops eating fat. They start eating low-fat, high-carb stuff, and now everybody is dying from all these maladies that come from high carb diets, basically high sugar, high insulin, By the way, you got to check out Dr. Berg. Seriously, his videos are 3 to 5 minutes long, which is awesome, and they're just information packed. I mean, when you start watching them, at least for me, I'm just like glued to the screen. Of course, I'm like that with a lot of things, but with Dr. Berg, if you don't pay attention, I mean, it's high density, low quantity information. I mean, it's awesome. But so he's talking about insulin resistance, where your blood glucose could be normal, but your insulin is 5 to 7 times normal, because that's how much your body has to produce to make your blood sugar normal, and that's a whole nother bag of worms with respect to health and the whole thing, But this, I think I forgot to say, I wanted to say that the whole reason I brought up my mother's internist was that he rattled off like 13 disorders. Did I say that? I can't remember. See what I mean? I mean, I'm just like totally off today. It's crazy. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But he rattled off like 13. He was counting them on his fingers, disorders that come from metabolic disorder from eating too much sugar. And he was talking about sugar. He wasn't talking about carbs. I don't know if he's keyed in or clued into the whole ketogenesis thing or whatever. I don't know. But amazing. I mean, just astounding. And for the kids, I mean, it's great for kids. Cavities, bone structure. Get these kids off Ritalin and hyper. Because when you're jacked up on sugar, you're like, you're restless and you're nervous, and it's not just your body, but it's your mind. You're jumping, and so at least this is the story. So the reason I like it is because it exposes it exposes a conspiracy. Like I said, just because it's a conspiracy, it doesn't mean it's true. But on the other hand, just because it's a conspiracy, that doesn't mean it's false, right? So it might be true, might not be true. So consider it. That literally reduces your attention span because of the jumpiness of being jacked up on sugar mentally. It kills you. Maybe not every individual, but when you start applying the practice or the principle to an entire population, it starts to knock out the population. Maybe you might say on the fringes, on the unhealthy fringes, and then when you kill the sicklier ones on the fringes, it exposes a new fringe. Because if it's unhealthy for the people, if it's so unhealthy for the sickly people that it kills them, it's going to be unhealthy enough for the next level coming inward towards the hardcore people that are not going to be affected by basically anything except, whatever, something extreme. Starvation or infectious diseases or nuclear whatever, radiation or whatever. Those are the hardcore people in the middle that are just so healthy that, nothing will affect them basically. But every time they peel away 2%, it reveals it creates another 2% level that is vulnerable to being peeled away. And so it is a way to control the population in a silent kind of way, right? And everybody just thinks, oh, everybody's getting cancer. Cancer's on the rise. Oh, go to get some chemo, and it just becomes a way of life, and nobody even thinks twice about it. It's just the way it is. So it exposes that that conspiracy. It weakens the population intellectually because we can't think straight when you're all jacked up on stuff that makes you excitable and anxious. What else does it do? There was something else, but like I said, man, I am just like, wow, hardcore out of it today. I think this was it. So in the Bible, right? In the Old Testament, you read the Old Testament, what portions of meat were the people supposed to give the priest? First of all, they were supposed to give them their first fruits of their crops and their earnings and whatever, whatever, right? The best, right? So the best. So they're supposed to give them the best. So what do they give them? They give them the fatty portions. It specifically says that, right? So, and you go back throughout history, people always wanted the fat. They always wanted the fat. So it's consistent with what people have been doing for thousands of years, I go places, and I'm like, I just want to do what people have been doing for thousands of years. All this new crap that's just a ripoff, and it fixes this symptom, but it causes another symptom, so you have to go get something else for that. I don't want anything to do with that whole scene. I mean, that's just a rotten, thieving, malicious, malevolent, game playing, psychological manipulation. It's just a game. I don't want anything to do with that. All these places that are filled with little people in little uniforms with clipboards running around looking busy, and all they're doing is changing bedpans and flipping people over and taking pulses and temperature. I mean, anything anybody could do at home, But you think you got to pay millions of dollars for this nonsense that at the end of the day, it's just really nothing. I mean, it's just a bunch of show and fluff and frill and pretense and, theater. I mean, it's theater. That's all it is. It's 95% of it's theater. Yeah, 5% of it is super, super critical. Granted. Okay, I'll take the 5%, but I don't want anything to do with the other 95% because they sneak poison pills into the other 95%. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it all works. But that's just my impression. I could talk for hours about that with personal experiences, talking to doctors, talking to friends who were doctors, visiting people that were sick and in the hospital and listening to the doctors talk. And I'm just saying, I'm like, did you just hear what he just said? I was like, what? It's crazy, you know? The whole thing is crazy. All these little cliches that just make people start nodding their head because they've heard it before. But when you really start to think about what's being said, it's like, yeah, I understand that that's what everybody says, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, it doesn't make any sense. Could you explain, And they can't, because they don't know. They only know what they're trained. And they're trained by the pharmaceutical companies, because the pharmaceutical companies own the medical schools, And they own the process. They own the standards. They own the protocols. So the doctors just simply do not know. That's why I said, I don't know if my mother's internist was keyed in or clued into the whole keto thing. He might not be. And if he's not, it's nothing against him, because the amount of information that they pump these guys full of is extraordinary to begin with. Anyway, that's why I'm kind of keyed in and clued in and into the keto thing. And like I said, I got a little extra push here. And so to me, that's just the way God works. God does not work like people say, I don't think, where it's like you're sitting there and you get like a data download from the mothership, like, and then you open your eyes and like, I got a message from God. No, that's not how it works. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But I really don't think so. But that's how so many people represent it, right? There's people that claim to talk to angels. There's people that claim to talk to God. It's like, no. That's not really. God isn't in that much of a hurry that he needs to send, Susie a direct message right there on the spot, like it's, like I said, like a data download live from that, what was that comedy show? Third Rock from the Sun, aliens that were cloaked as humans, and they would get downlinks from the mothership. It doesn't work like that. God has lifetimes, generations, scores, 20 years, scores, centuries. What comes after centuries? Epochs. The entire history of the world. He has all of that to work with. And he has unlimited channels, right? And he has channels that we don't even know exist. We know about imagination. We know about other people talking to us. We know about the written spiritual text, Bible and other spiritual texts, I presume. We know about just our intellect. We know about, curiosity and discovery. Those are all valid channels. We know about the physical channel where he can afflict somebody with pain or bless somebody with pleasure. We know about material channels where he can give you something or take something away. We know about the pineal gland, which is like a literal cell, which contradicts what I was saying about the downlink from the mothership. But the pineal gland is literally like a cell phone antenna inside your brain, has a crystal inside of it, allows people to communicate with the spiritual realm for better or for worse. It goes both ways. There's no restriction. So we know about all these, but there are other channels as well. I believe. I don't know. We don't know what they are, so I can't say what they are. But I believe that they do exist. Because that's just how I know God to be. I know God to be a power, a force, a being, an entity that has resources that nobody even knows exist. And what we know is always like 1% of what there is to know. So that's just the way. That's the way I look at it. But I think it was Elijah, and the army came to attack him at his house, and his servant was freaking out, and Elijah prayed, I think it was Elijah, it could have been somebody else, but I think it was Elijah. Elijah prayed that God would open his servant's eyes so that he could see the armies of the Lord, and so God did open his servant's eyes, and the servant saw the armies of the Lord encamped all around, so that there was literally no reason to be afraid of this human army coming to attack him and his servant at his house. So that's the way I know God to be. There's always resources available that we don't know are available or even potentially available. So